You're holding a bag of O negative that failed screening 4 hours ago, and a courier is waiting at the loading dock right now to drive it to a hospital 40 minutes away. Somewhere in that building, a surgeon is about to call for this exact bag by name, mid-operation, trusting completely that everything on this shelf is clean. You have 90 seconds to decide whether you're the last checkpoint standing between a stranger and something you already know is in their blood, or whether you're going to relabel the tag and let it go out the door the way you have 11 times before. 6 years ago, you were the other techs trusted to double-check their work. Serology screening, HIV, hepatitis, syphilis, West Nile, every donated unit run through your hands before it reached a hospital shelf. You used to tell Eli, back when he was small enough to think it was a superhero job, that you were the last person standing between a bad drop of blood and someone's mother. You liked believing that. Then, when Eli was 7, came the diagnosis, a rare metabolic disorder, specialist visits alone running past $600. The one drug that stabilized him never fully covered, no matter how your caseworker read the policy. Every overtime shift the center offered still left you $4,000 short a month, and $4,000 short doesn't average out, it compounds. By month 6, you were researching how to sell your own plasma on your day off, a particular humiliation when selling plasma is technically your entire job. That's when Kessler started talking to you in the break room, a supply broker who moved expired units to research labs, legitimate on paper. He noticed the exhaustion, mentioned, almost as an aside, that certain buyers paid real money for units that failed screening on a technicality. Gray area cases, he called them. Not a crime, a paperwork inefficiency. You wanted badly enough to believe him that you let yourself. The first unit wasn't even a clean positive, a borderline hepatitis C flag that sometimes clears on a second test. You logged it destroyed and drove it to a parking lot instead. $800. Eli's visit that month cost $740. One time, you told yourself. It wasn't. 6 weeks later, another flag, and you didn't hesitate past a single night. You built a rhythm. A flagged unit came through. You faked the destruction log. The real bag went out the back door in a cooler with a false manifest. You told yourself these were going to research clinics, testing purposes. That lie survived about 4 months until Kessler mentioned, handing off a bag in a gas station lot, that one buyer was actually a small overseas surgical clinic, no questions asked. You asked directly if that meant transfusion. He didn't answer. He just handed you an envelope thicker than usual. Your supervisor, Alvarez, the woman who trained you, started asking questions around month 5, when the center's destruction numbers ticked slightly above average. She pulled you aside, not accusing you, genuinely worried something was wrong with the equipment, or with you, since Eli's diagnosis. She'd been covering for you in ways she didn't know were covering, bringing you coffee on overnights, taking your calls when you had to leave for his appointments. You told her the analyzer needed recalibrating. She believed you because she wanted to. 7 months in, a 9-year-old girl came out of a car accident 2 floors above the satellite lab you were covering overnight. The surgical team called down for O negative, stat, and the only matching unit in that fridge was one you'd flagged 3 days earlier for hepatitis B, still sitting there because Kessler's courier hadn't come yet. For 4 seconds, phone in hand, a nurse waiting on the line, you understood exactly what this had become. Not a paperwork inefficiency. A 9-year-old girl, right now, about to receive whatever you sent up. You grabbed 2 clean units from a different lot and ran them up yourself. Then you called Kessler and told him that unit wasn't for sale. He asked if you were sure. You said yes. He didn't push, but something in his voice told you he'd remember. 2 nights later, 2 men stopped you in the parking garage. Not violent, just close enough to make the point clear. They knew your shift schedule, Eli's school pickup time. They mentioned, almost gently, that supply interruptions weren't tolerated, and that the girl upstairs hadn't been yours to protect once a unit had someone else's name on it. You understood standing there that you'd never been freelance. You'd been a supplier in someone else's pipeline the whole time. And pipelines don't forgive technicians who develop a conscience at the wrong moment. You didn't sleep that night. You sat in your car with Eli's medication schedule taped to the dashboard and did the math you'd been avoiding for 7 months. How many units, how many people on the other end of coolers you'd packed and never asked about again. The version of you that believed the research clinic story had been gone for months. What was left was just someone counting exits. You called Alvarez the next morning before your shift and told her everything in the parking lot. The flags, the relabeling, the girl, the men. She went very quiet. Then she asked one question. How many units, total, do you think actually got transfused? You gave her your honest guess. She was sick right there before she called the state health department from her own phone, not giving you a chance to reconsider. 5 months of a joint investigation followed. Your case intersecting with a federal trafficking probe that had been trying to get inside Kessler's network for over a year without a way in. You became that way in. 2 wired handoffs, shaking through both. Enough to trace the operation to 2 other centers, doing versions of exactly what you'd done. The raid happened on a Thursday. They kept you clear of it. Alvarez told you afterward that contact tracing had identified around 40 transfusion recipients across 3 hospitals who'd received contaminated units. 31 were caught and treated in time. 9 weren't people you'll ever get an update on, because the state doesn't share that number with the person responsible. And hearing it, you understood you were never going to get to decide how that math balanced. You lost your license permanently. Cooperation reduced a 15-year exposure down to 14 months served. Eli's medication is fully covered now through a state program you only qualified for once your income collapsed completely. The same fix that would have solved everything 18 months earlier if you'd found the right caseworker instead of a man named Kessler in a break room. You stock shelves at a hardware store now under your real name because there's no protection program for someone in your position. Just a plea deal and a public record with the word contamination permanently attached to it. Alvarez still sends Eli a birthday card every year. She's never once come to see you, and you've never asked her to. Some nights, closing up the store, you think about that 9-year-old girl, alive, with no idea how close a decision in a stairwell came to going the other way. That's supposed to feel like redemption. Mostly, it just feels like the one night out of 211 that you did the job the way you swore to, and you're still not convinced 210 wrong ones get erased by the single night you got right.